Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Thursday morning. So much going on. The Utah Jazz Summer League is winding down. Peterson's still playing. Ace Bailey isn't. Cody Williams isn't. Darren's marked man. Jazz lose to the Spurs. We get the Open Championship underway. We will talk with Brian Taylor about that coming up at 8 o'clock. And Real Salt Lake is back in action. They've been off of the World Cup for 6 weeks. The World Cup ends Sunday. Heck of a performance by Argentina. 2 late goals again. And they beat England, rip their hearts out and tear it in half, stomp on it, hand it back to them. And now Argentina's on to the final to play Spain. And Real Salt Lake with a tune-up game against Burnley, a team that was playing in the English Premier League but has just been relegated after finishing next to last and moving down in the championship. Former Jazz president, Knicks president, and Real Salt Lake founder Dave Checketts now owns a minority share of Burnley, along with Spence Eccles, and that is why Burnley is here. So Burnley put up a fight for about 40 minutes, had a penalty saved early when they could have taken the lead, and then RSL took over and they win 4-1. Serge Solans with 2 goals and assists. Diego Luna scored the 4th goal from the penalty spot. The assist that Solans had was a beauty to Goza, who took it first time and scored a spectacular goal. So RSL looked really sharp against Burnley. Now, how good is Burnley and how hard are they playing in preseason games at the U.S. at elevation? All good questions. Here's some good questions for Pablo Mastroeni, the RSL head coach, after the game.
We've talked for the last few weeks about set pieces and controlling the tempo of play. How did you feel the team did tonight?
Yeah, I think they did a really good job of both those things. I thought early in the first half we didn't have enough control. I think we were trying to make the killer pass too often and found ourselves in transition quite a bit. I think late in the first half, more so by the side I was in, the west side of the field. And I tell the guys all the time is when you have overloads, don't be patient. And there's a couple where Wanma walks it in and a couple other guys walk it in. So it's really about how we navigate those first 20, 30 minutes. I just felt like the game was, again, they came out man-to-man. And it was difficult, but we still found a way. And then when we get in the final third, teams are going to protect the goal, so you're going to always have numerical advantages. And I think they did a good job of that, of controlling that part of it. Defensively, I think we still we got to do a better job defending the box. I love the way we attack as 11. We got to defend as an 11. I think that's a focal point. So a lot of positives. I'm really happy about the way they went about the game. I think offensively as well, there's way too many rotations. And whilst it's good when you keep the ball, when you lose the ball with so many players rotating, you find yourself in dangerous situations in transition. So it's always going to be a give and take. How much structure versus how much security you want, and I just think for the next part, the second part of the season, it's going to be we've got to be great at both. But again, there's some really good performances against a good team.
Just digging on that for a second, what did you, not just on the penalty, but what did you see on the goal that they scored? It seemed to have incensed you and some of your assistants.
Yeah, I think. It's been great because a lot of our rotations have allowed us to gain a lot of control of the ball, but also be dangerous going forward. I think when and because everyone's brave on the ball and there's so many options to play, we start getting careless with our positioning. And I think on the goal, Diego dropped back, and one of the things I talked to him after the game was, anytime we rotate, you have to understand the responsibility comes with the position that you're currently playing. So if you're a 10 and you're dropping into the midfield line, into the pivot line, you have to conduct yourself like a pivot. if you're a 10 and want to rotate out to the wide areas and push the winger higher, the ball gets turned over. You have to conduct yourself defensively as a wing back. And so I think, they say he to he who has what's the saying? I said it.
With great power comes great responsibility.
That's right. There you go. There you go. And so I just think we just got to make sure that we understand, because again, when the players play with joy, it's the best, and it feels great and it looks great, but we also want to win games, And so for as much as it was a great showing and a lot of really good individual performances, I think our transition defense needs to improve, our box defending needs to improve, and this idea that we're brave with the ball, but we have to be brave without the ball, which means everyone getting back and doing a job. So, and again, that's if we want to be the best we can be. If we want to be happy, like it was a great performance tonight, there's a lot to celebrate. But for me, I'm always looking forward. I'm always thinking about the next one, and everyone's going to come back hungry the second part of the season, and our games are on the road. It's not going to be an easy task, so we got to tighten some things up.
Thank you. And then last one for me, did you feel like Burnley asked the kinds of questions that you think LAFC is going to ask? And are you happy with the answers that the team was able to provide? Yeah,
I think for the most part, I think we looked at a couple clips from Burnley's last few games, but really they build with a 4, outside backs wide, kind of deep. And for me, it was more about our understanding of our principles against that shape. And I think for the most part, the guys did a good job. Defensively, I think offensively, I think we're really good with teams that want to press and being able to break the press and having one pivot be kind of like a joker in creating a +1 on the back line. The other pivot has to maintain central, and I think we were able to really break them quite a bit, and I think that's really exciting, and that's something that we've been really working on. But again, there's the other side of the ball is transition defending, and I don't think we did a great job with that. There's moments where a wing back, a couple guys weren't getting back into positions where we need to, and to be defensively solid. So a lot of great stuff and a lot of stuff to continue to work on to be the team that we can be.
Pablo, congrats on the win. Do you feel like you treated tonight's win as like a fitness builder or a kind of more of a benchmark to see where this team's at?
Yeah, I think both of those. I think fitness, we wanted to really push the guys. Juanma, he was slated to play about 60, and then Morgan had a knock that he felt in the first half, so we had to use that sub. But the idea was to give as many guys 90 minutes in lieu of these next couple games coming up. So that part was great. And then the benchmark is, I think, every inter-squad, we played Nashville, Minnesota, we go really hard on, and again, for me, I'm always just checking for understanding. It's not about great game, scored this many goals, or bad game, you conceded. It's really about how do we learn from all these games. And again, there's some growth, but like everything else, you're going to have areas that you need to continue to focus on as a staff to make sure that we're dialed in. But overall, I thought the competitiveness of the group, the fight, those things are non-negotiables if we're going to be the team, right? All the tactical pieces and those things we can fix, but you can't fix a desire to want to win a game and play hard for your fans. And tonight, the guys did that.
It's 7 days until we're back into MLS play for you guys against LAFC. What's the talk to keep these guys grounded, to keep them focused? Because like you mentioned, we're back 3 games on the road. Yeah,
well, I think it started with my chat after the game. It was basically what I just said to you guys about the areas that we need to continue to improve on. And again, we want to be a team that's brave with the ball, but we've got to be braver against the ball, going away to LAFC and then to Portland. We have some big challenges ahead of us. And so just kind of, again, expectation setting. I know what this group's capable of when we stay in our positions. Again, just not necessarily stay in our positions, but when we understand the implications of not being in our positions, and that's what I'm really trying to, as a staff, that we're really trying to hit on. Because again, there's some stuff that's just top level, the way we break teams down, and I don't want to sacrifice that, but also understand that there's some negative implications if we get, out of control, and there's just too many rotations when the ball turns over. So I think that's how you keep everyone grounded, including us as a staff, is making sure that we're focused on things that we want to continue to improve upon and not celebrate a preseason game, which the guys know what's at stake, and they know how good we could be, and so I think they'll take it, digest it, and be ready to go for the start of the week.
Pablo, you mentioned earlier in the week that you were excited for this game, and all the players should be. You get to play against the championship side. What did it live up to your excitement?
Yeah, it was an exciting game, and it was just great to be, I think, in a stadium with fans, our fans, to really kick this next part of the season off. I think it was really exciting, and then obviously, I think there's quite a few players that have dreams of going over to Europe, and so just seeing how they compete with that level of talent. And I think the guys handled themselves well from that perspective. They competed the right way, and obviously Burnley just started preseason, so it's not a fair assessment. But again, we can only control our reactions, our mentality towards whatever's in front of us, and I think the guys did that. I think there's a couple bust ups during the game, which made it feel like it was a real game, and I think the guys handled themselves well in that as well. So there's a lot of great things that occurred tonight, and I think just super grateful that they were able to come out and compete the way they did.
All right, there is Pablo Mastroeni. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Bob Casper on the Open Championship and our draft with PK. That's next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We always do a draft, 3 golfers apiece with Bob Casper. And, of course, we can't pick a golfer twice in a year, so a couple golfers are off limits. We've all picked them. And then some other thoughts on this tournament from Bob as it gets underway now, obviously. Here's Bob Casper with PK and I.
This Open Championship update is presented by Copper Rock, where the pros play on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Brian Taylor, Bob Casper's appearances are brought to you by Mountain America Credit Union, Mountainland Supply, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, and Uinta Golf. Time to welcome in Bob Casper. Bob, good morning.
How you guys doing?
We are doing well. How are you?
Bob Casper.
That was random.
How you doing, PK?
Oh, I am good. Ready to get another title. I don't know where I'm going to put all these.
Oh, listen to you. You are a master gloater.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, it's all about the weather at the Open Championship, and I'm hearing it's warm and the rough is burned out, and Rory thinks guys may just try to bomb it up there and hit out of the rough, and other guys are going to be hitting irons, keeping it in the fairway, and letting it roll forever. What's going on? What's the deal? What do you think?
Tiger had a pretty good game plan at Royal Liverpool. I think he only hit one driver all week, and he ended up winning that golf tournament by I don't know how many shots, but he was definitely a ball striker. He was definitely relied on his iron play, and I think if somebody can do that, then they're going to have a really good chance. The thing that just bombing and gouging it does is it leaves so much to chance and so many places that you can hit the ball. Whether it's in the pot bunkers or whether it's in the rough, and just hoping you get a good lie. I'm the tactician mindset, and I think what Tiger did is what somebody's going to do, and they're going to have a pretty good chance of winning.
How does thinking and course management factor into this major relative to the other 3?
Well, it's PK. It's so different in that you get burnout conditions like this one, where there's not a lot of moisture in the soil, especially off the tee, and now you have to decide what you're going to hit off the tee, so that you can keep the ball in play, that you don't hit it in those pot bunkers, how much the ball is actually going to roll out. So there's going to be a lot of interaction between the caddies and the players. They're going to be talking about weather or wind conditions. Is the wind straight down? Is it into you? Is it right to left to right? Do I hit a draw and hold it into the wind if it's left to right, or do I hit a fade and hold it into the wind if it's right to left, or do I hit shots that carry with the wind, that kind of thing. And then, they all have launch monitors and everything. So when they're practicing on the practice range, they can tell how far the ball is flying, and then roll out as well. But then when you get on the golf course, you've got humps and bumps and all that kind of stuff. And, you catch one of those downhill bumps and you're going to hit it, so much further. The guys were talking about hitting a 5-iron almost 300 yards with the amount of roll that you could possibly get, and guys that are hitting drivers close to 400 yards because, you get bounces and rolls and the ball just travels and keeps going. So you've got to pretty well decide on some holes that you can take advantage of, and some holes you want to make sure that you play safe. But you got to keep it out of those fairway pot bunkers, that's for sure.
Are the greens, with all this heat and the weather, are the greens going to be really fast?
The greens, that as far as the speed of the greens over there in Europe, because they get so much, and links courses, they get so much wind. And when the wind has a tendency to make the ball move on the greens, so they like to keep their greens a little bit slower, where we would in a U.S. Open 11 to 14 on the stimp meter. Over there, you're going to be 9 to 10, 10 on the high end, and which means that you can be a little bit more aggressive with your putts. And so because of that, I think the greens will have some moisture in them to help the ball stay on the green a little bit. And I think they will be a little bit slower because that's traditionally what they've done.
Are these bunkers that you speak of, are they the mindset of avoid at all costs?
Avoid at all costs, 100%. Pot bunkers aren't big, so the ball can roll up against the faces in these. They're called revetted bunkers or sod face bunkers because they stack sod horizontally and bring up the face of the bunker higher. And when they do that, it's harder to get the ball out of the bunker. You're going to just have to try to hit a wedge, hit a sand wedge or a lob wedge to get the ball out of the bunker because there's no actually playing forward to get the ball onto the green. So that is truly a one-shot penalty if you hit it in a fairway bunker, and you've got to avoid those at all costs.
It's time for our draft, and we got a little tip from your tag team radio partner, Brian Taylor.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah, he says the guy to watch, his pick for the week is...
the one I discovered.
Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
Matty Fitzpatrick.
And you want to know the problem with that?
Yeah.
We got a new rule this year that you can only pick a guy once a year, and we all picked him. PK took him in the Masters.
Yep.
I took him in the PGA. You took him at the U.S. Open. He has not won a major, but we all swung and missed with him, so we can't pick Matty Fitz. We also have all taken Tommy Fleetwood, so if you're thinking about, hey, who's an elite European I could take at the Open Championship? Well, Fleetwood's. And the odds on both of them, I mean, a lot of people are betting on those guys. I mean, this is the Open Championship, and the odds are everywhere. The British love to gamble on golf. And they're like third and fourth. So, and we can't pick them.
Nope, they're out.
All right, Bob, why don't you bat lead off and get us going here? You've got the first pick.
Okay,
we've got the regional picks that are off the board. You get Xander Schauffele, who actually has pretty good odds to win this week. The gamblers are liking him. And PK's got John Rahm. Again, the gamblers like him. Good odds to win the championship. And I've got Brooks Koepka, who nobody takes seriously. So, yay for me.
I think it's appropriate.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 1969 is the last time that a Englishman has won on English soil at an Open Championship, and so that bodes well for my first pick because he made his coming out debut in 1998 as a 17-year-old amateur. He finished fourth, and here he is trying to win the Open Championship. So I'm gonna full circle.
JR?
I'm going Justin Rose for my first pick.
Dang it! He was on my list, and I never got a chance.
I hear that all the time from you, DJ.
PK,
Yeah.
there's three
Dang
names.
it.
What's that name right there?
That was an excellent impersonation, Bob.
Yeah. Dang it.
I want to say something else, but we're on the radio. I'll tell you what I was going to say later.
That's right.
But you could just cue up some Jerry Sloan sideline stuff, and you'd be in the ballpark.
What does he say, Bob?
Dang it.
Hey, you got to drop Yak. You got to use that.
Oh, yeah.
You got to use that. That's pure gold. Pure
Trust me.
I can't
Trust
believe
me.
you took Rose right out of the gate. All right, I haven't taken
Yeah, I did.
Scheffler yet,
I'm sorry.
and I've been waiting for him to peak all year. And now that I'm down to the last tournament, he goes and misses the cut. So, Scheffler, am I wasting my time with my first pick? Do you think he can bounce back from the missed cut?
Reset last week.
That was a reset. He'll be flying
good.
this week.
Yep.
All right. Well, I got Scheffler.
He'll be good.
And both of you guys have taken Rory, right?
I took Rory in the Open, and he took him in the PGA. So you could just sit on Rory for your third pick.
All right, I'll go Sam Burns.
Ooh, that's a really good one, PK. I like that.
Well, why didn't you make it? And then I could have had Rose.
Because he wanted to hear you say.
Because I'm going, I always go for the career Grand Slam, and I always go for the history makers. So that's why I picked Rose.
I would love to see Rose win
Because
it.
full circle all the way around. Yeah, Rose
I would
would
too.
be good. Rose
I
would be
had
a
him
really
at
good
the
winner.
Masters when he was runner-up, and he's kind of around, but he just couldn't quite get over the hump. And it'd be cool. He's been out there for a long time.
Yeah.
Didn't he, as an amateur, didn't he finish like third or something when he was an amateur? Wasn't that his breakout?
He finished fourth.
Fourth,
Yeah,
okay.
fourth
Yeah.
at this golf course.
Man.
That's why it's full circle around to
Yeah.
now he's 46 or 45.
No
or
drama,
whatever.
just
And,
goes out and plays.
Yeah. Really cool. So another story, Tommy Fleetwood grew up 5 minutes down the road, and he and his dad used to sneak through the fence and play golf on this golf course.
Oh,
So that's a cool story
sure.
also. But I'm going with my next pick. I'm going to do Russell Henley.
Good.
I took him at the Open.
Since
That
we're
didn't.
scraping bottom of the barrel now.
That didn't really work for me when I took
Well,
him
you
at the
don't have
Open.
to scrape bottom of the barrel. You chose those other guys. I got Rory
did.
sitting
You're
out
right.
there. I obviously
Yeah.
haven't picked him.
No, you got
Yeah.
Rory sitting there for the third round.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Chris Gotterup.
Yep. Ooh, that's good. Yep. I like that. He's playing good golf. Won 2 weeks ago.
He did.
Finished well last week.
He did. He was tied for 11th at the Scottish Open. So
Yep.
I'll go Morikawa.
Morikawa.
Yeah.
Colin. Okay. Okay, I got to look through my list again. See who I have picked or have not picked.
You can have DeChambeau if you want him.
Oh, man. I can?
no, he took him into the Masters. He
Yeah,
cannot hit
but see,
DeChambeau.
but I'll be
I
nice. I
took
give
him
him.
in the
Nope.
Masters.
He's struggling. Faldo was blasting him the other day.
Oh, Faldo was blasting him hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I told him he didn't know how to play this golf course.
right.
So, okay, another one that missed the cut last week. I'm going to take Ludwig Oberg.
All right, I will go. I think he's still available for me. Let me make sure. No, I haven't taken him. I'm going to take Victor Hovland.
Okay,
Not Victory Hovland.
that's a good one.
Victor Hovland.
Well, pick a European over there, on the other side of the pond. and all that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And you're going to take.
I'm
Got
gonna
two
go-
out of 3 Europeans.
I'm going to go Rory Mac. Oh, Maury Mac. When are you going to be winning again? Can't you hear me, Rory Mac? Oh, Rory Mac.
Okay.
One of the guys who has pretty good odds that we did not take, and I wonder if we've just blown it here, but of the guys who are in the top, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 7th on the list, and I think we took almost all. I think we took 8 of the top 10. Robert McIntyre. Did we blow it?
Bobby Mack.
Bobby Mack? Oh, Bobby Mack. Is he coming back?
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
Wow.
Enough of that.
Yeah.
Well, because if I don't sing, you know what the listeners are going to say?
Thank you.
No. They're going to say, dang it.
Thank you. He's right.
Ding. Correct answer.
DJ. Yes. Here, I'm touching my nose. Ding, 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 ding.
How many times have you been to the Open Championship? You go to the Masters every year, but the Open Championship, that's a much longer flight, much more expensive trip. I know you've been over there, but I don't think you've been that often. How many have you been to?
BT and I went over in 2005 when Tiger won at the Old Course.
Mm-hmm.
We were there with my dad. Got to play Carnoustie with my dad.
Oh, nice.
But when I was younger, probably, I don't know, a handful of times when I was younger.
What did your father say about this tournament?
My dad, he loved the Open Championship. He didn't play at PK till 1968. That was the first time he played it at Carnoustie.
Is that a scheduling issue or a money issue, or what was it?
No, it was a 2-week trip, basically, and he could stay in the U.S. and still play PGA Tour events, and not have to pay the expense to go across the pond. But once he got over there, he was leading it. He was leading through 3 rounds and the majority of the 4th round at Carnoustie, and hit it into the gorse. And Gary Player ended up winning. I think my dad finished 4th. And he said one of his biggest regrets is that he didn't go play that more because he felt like that type of golf really fit his game. He could control the ball flight. He liked using his imagination to bump shots into greens and that kind of thing. And he was never able to win the Open Championship, but he sure loved playing in it.
All right, there's Bob Casper. Brian Taylor will join us at 8 o'clock. We'll get back to the Open Championship and assess round number 1 coming up at 8 o'clock. Stay with us for that. Stay with us next. Tanner Wall, former BYU defensive back trying to make the Raider roster, joins us next. Stay with us.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
DJ PK, we're joined now by Tanner Wall, former BYU star, now trying to make the Raiders. Tanner, good morning.
Good morning. How we doing?
We are doing well, Tanner. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. Just enjoying the last couple of days before heading back down to Vegas here before training camp.
I'm curious, going from the BYU, the baby blues, and it's got the goody two-shoe reputation, to the Raiders, which I think this is like a 20-year-old or 30-year-old rep, but nonetheless, the silver and black, anything goes, just win, baby. Is it really just different, or is it just football?
It's different, but at the same time, it's the same. Yeah. I mean, like you said, football is football. We've done some cool team meetings and just kind of learning the history of the Raiders and Al Davis and, who he was and what kind of players he liked and the style of players that have kind of historically been associated with the silver and black. So we're definitely trying to still maintain that, but I think Coach Kubiak's bringing his own spin to that. But I'm excited to see it all come together this season.
You've been there. right? The draft is in April, and then they've got a lot of stuff that you've got to do as a team and as an individual. Tell us about all the stuff that's already been going on before the actual training camp gets underway.
Yeah, so NFL offseason, they kind of break it up into what they call like phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. You've probably heard the term OTAs.
Yeah.
OTAs are not mandatory by any means, but every player on our roster was there, so that gives you kind of a taste of exactly how important they are, especially for a team with the new coach and, a lot of new stuff going on. But so the veterans, they started phase 1, which is just like, working out with the strength and conditioning staff and some walkthroughs, that kind of stuff in April. Rookies, we had our rookie mini camp the first weekend in May. So all the rookies come down, whether you're a drafted guy, a free agent signed guy, or, just a guy who they invited for mini camp, just to kind of take a look at. The mini camp invites are kind of like tryout guys. And then after that, they pretty much roll the rookies straight into, the OTAs. So we caught like a week of phase 2 where there's no crossover. So there's no O versus D during phase 2, but we're still on the field for like hour to an hour 20 every day, going through the installs, doing walkthroughs, doing more stuff against, our coaches and stuff who are lined up at receiver. We're giving each other looks. And then when OTAs start, we had, 10 practices where, we're 2 hour 10 practices where we're, doing lots of team periods, lots of good on good crossover, lots of special teams work. So that wrapped up. And then the rookies, we stayed for about another week and a half, 2 weeks after, just to get some more work in and do a couple things. And then we got our little break. So, but rookies, we report next week. So our report day is the 23rd, but training camp starts on the 29th. So this is that little summer break that everyone gets right before training camp starts. And then it's straight into it. I was just looking at the calendar, a little different from college. Training camp, you have 12 practices before your first preseason game. Different from, a college camp. So it's a quick turnaround. So that's why, OTAs and everyone being there for that is so important, just to get a jump on a lot of that stuff.
The Raiders, the recent history obviously isn't good. They won 4 games under Antonio Pierce, 4-13. They let him go. They brought in Pete Carroll. They went 3-14, a game worse, and let him go. So those recent results would suggest to me there are no guaranteed jobs and everybody's competing. But it is pro sports. Some guys are making a lot of money. Some guys do have reputations. And maybe coaches have brought in some of, quote unquote, their guys. So maybe there is a feel there's some guys set there. On the other hand, there's not a lot of guaranteed money in the end. So even if you're making money, they can take it away from you and let you go in some cases. So I'm curious how locked in people feel and how much comfort there is and how much everybody's walking on eggshells. Or is it really different for different people?
I'd say, maybe on every roster, there's a handful of guys who, feel maybe a little bit more protected. But for the most part, like, this is everyone's livelihood, and they are fighting tooth and nail to defend that. Whether, you're a, year 8, year 9 guy, or you're a rookie free agent, like, everyone's trying to get a piece of this pie. And so there's not a lot of comfort or guarantee, I would say. I think everyone's pretty on top of it as far as just doing everything they can to show their value and make sure that they're going to be a guy who makes the roster and is going to, get the money from your contract. And from a coaching perspective too, as you mentioned, like, there's no guarantees. And so there's a lot of focus and attention going in, especially from Clint Kubiak's role top down, being our new head coach coming from the Seahawks, where he just won a Super Bowl. I mean, even for him, he knows, there's no guarantees here. So we got to put together a good team that's going to win games and show some promise here so that we can continue to build what he wants to in Vegas.
What type of feedback, if any, have you received from your individual performances and all these types of things that you've been able to do as you get ready for training camp? Are you still in the dark, or have they said anything?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got a whole lot of feedback, knowing as far as like, where we see you, how we like you. Like, there's still so much of that to be discovered. And I think that's intentional just because they know a lot of that comes from training camp and the preseason games. Like, this is such a huge part. Like, we haven't put pads on yet. Like, we were just in helmets for all of, OTAs and all of that. So the game of football is a little bit different, when the pads do come on. And then what you can show in live game situations in the preseason games, I think really will determine the value that they see in you. There's still, it's so different than college, like with the preseason games and what you put on tape. Like, you might not be a guy who makes the 53 at the team you're at, but next thing you know, your agent's on the phone and you're signing with a different team because they liked what they saw from you in the preseason games. There's still so much shuffling that can go on with that. But, bottom line is coming to training camp, hungry, ready to go. And, someone in my position too, so much of it's going to come down to value that can be provided on special teams, which will be shown as well in those preseason games.
Do the Raiders have those practices where they go in and do the joint practices with another team? You mentioned 12 practices before the first preseason game, but those joint practices might be a chance for you to earn your stripes.
Yeah. So I know, so we have 2 home preseason games. So our first preseason game is home against the Cardinals. Then the next week, we do go down a couple days early to Houston because we're playing the Texans, and we have a joint practice or 2 with them before our preseason game. That's the only one that I know of right now, though.
Have you scouted out the competition at all to try to maybe dope it out your chances?
I mean, I think all of us kind of do that, as we're looking at, what we're up against and who we're competing with. But at the same time, I try not to, go too deep in that, just knowing I'm going to control the controllables, be the best version of myself. And, what it comes down to with me and what the coaches see in me, just make sure that I've done everything humanly possible to give them a reason to keep me around.
So how many guys are there at your position? How many spots are there? Recognizing there can be a little wiggle room, especially as you point out with the special teams value, which really needs to be underlined, because that we've been told by multiple former collegians here. Reno Mai said, man, if you're not playing special teams, you better be a really good quarterback. So in our safety room, it's kind of interesting because we also have like the nickel position in our room, which can add in a number or 2 to, how many guys they keep, just depending on versatility. Each team is kind of different in, how they stack their 53. But when you do the math and you look at it, 53 guys is basically a starter and a backup at every position, and then a punter, a kicker, and a holder, and a snapper. I mean, that right there is 47. The game day roster is 47 guys. So 1s, 2s, and specialists. But, some teams will have 4 safeties. Some might have 5 or 6. And then, the teams that have 4 might keep 2 or 3 on a practice squad. If you have 5 or 6, they might only keep 1. It just kind of depends on how the team wants to do that. So I'm curious to see what that ends up looking like for us come the end of August.
It's been several weeks now you've not been with the team. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
okay.
correct.
So during that time, you're not just sitting on the couch eating Doritos. I wouldn't think that
No.
you're out there. It's like it really, in terms of the training, it didn't end, right? You just continue to go. And I know Chase Roberts is on the team too. So what have you been doing? I mean, I don't know if you've been doing stuff with him or whatever it might be. What do you do to make sure you are in the best physical and mental condition that you can be in when you report?
Yeah. So the strength and conditioning staff down there, they put together a packet for us just with the plan of, what they wanted us to be doing each and every day as far as, physically with running and training, lifting, that kind of stuff. And so there's a group of us, probably about 10 guys who train at BYU every day with Skylar Main, who's our performance director. Doc Main, I don't know if that's a name you guys know. You've probably seen the curly mustache.
Yeah, with the mustache and the tats. We know who he is. Yeah, he stands out.
Yes, he does. So there's a group of us that train with him after the college guys are done. So he'll spend like 2 hours just working with us. And so, me and Chase have been down there every day, but Zach Wilson's been around a lot this summer. Blake Freeland is around. Even some other guys who, either played college or high school ball here in Utah are also down there. So guys like Jay Tufele, who played at USC. Julian Blackman comes every day too. So it's a great group, and it's good to be able to train all together, stay ready.
What do you feel like is the biggest challenge for you? We're visiting with Tanner Wall, Raiders, trying to make the Raiders roster here coming out of BYU. What is the biggest challenge that you've been able to identify? Film sessions, just the helmets walking around out there thinking, if I can do this, my odds go way up.
Man, I mean, I think really it comes down to how many good football players there are out there. Like the discrepancy in talent between the ones and the threes is so small. There's a couple elite guys obviously on every roster, a handful who you look at and you're like, this is an all pro guy. Like he's going to, be the kind of guy who's making the Pro Bowl year in, year out. But for the rest of the guys, like when you watch the tape, there's really not that big of a jump as opposed to, when you turn on the tape in college, I would say most average football watchers, if you were to take them and show them a clip of the ones versus a clip of the threes, they could probably tell you who's who. Whereas I would say in the NFL, across the board, there's so much talent, the athleticism, the speed, the technique, there's a lot of guys. I mean, this is their job. This is their livelihood. They eat, sleep, drink, breathe football all the time. So there's a lot of great football players out there. Guys who are new to the league, guys who've been in the league for a long time. And so just trying to be someone who can stand out, do something that jumps off the tape, whether it's just outstanding psycho effort, the guy who's, always flying to the ball or chasing guys down, even when it might not be expected of you, but you got to do something to stand out. And so I'm just, trying to figure that out, what those things can be that can be, that things in my game that coaches see that jump off the tape.
We hear in basketball, these kids all come out after 1 year, right? And it's like it's a negative to a point where, man, if you're a 3 or 4 year player, what's wrong with you? And they want you in there so young and all that stuff. And football, you got to stay. So it's not as big of a deal. But in your case, you're 26 years old. I don't remember if you went on a mission, so I'm assuming you did.
Did, yeah.
Is that an issue in terms of the way they would look at it at basketball? It was like almost like, well, he's too old. But I'm wondering, how does that apply to football?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a factor, in speaking with my agent who has represented a number of LDS players. In his experience, he seemed to notice that most return missionaries slide on average 1 to 2 rounds because of their age. And so, from a GM or a coach's perspective, when looking at prospects in the draft, they're doing the math, right?
Yeah.
As far as, is this guy likely to get to a second or a third contract? Coming into the league at 26, making it to a second contract would be, major accomplishment. Making it to a second contract at all as an NFL player is an accomplishment. That's what a lot of guys are shooting to do. So it's definitely a factor. But I would say what's interesting in the draft class that the Raiders put together, there's a lot of older guys, guys who played 5-6 years at their school. So I'm not too worried about that or feeling like I'm at some extreme disadvantage. I still feel youthful, feel young. The body feels good.
Yeah.
But I would say if you look at a lot of the players that were taken, there's a lot of guys on the older end, and I think that's going to continue to be the case in college football, especially. We're kind of towards the tail end of the COVID stuff, so a lot of those guys are finally getting out of college football. But with this 5-for-5 rule and with where college football is at now, I think you're going to see a lot more guys staying 4 or 5 years.
But college coaching is such a 1, 2, or 3 year job, and GMs honestly don't last much longer than that. I just don't understand these guys who are making decisions based on who might get to a third contract. Like, you got to win this year or next year, or you're either gone or you're standing really close to the edge of the cliff. So I have never, and it's real though, I get it's real, but I have never understood that. There's so many teams in win now mode. There's 14 teams going to the playoffs. You just can't explain missing the playoffs for very long. So, hey, if you can help at 26, 27, 28, worry about 5 years down the road when you get there. You got to get there. NFL's unforgiving. Yeah. All right, well, we appreciate the time, Tanner. We'll be following you. Good luck. You get to practice indoors down there, or they have you out there in the Vegas heat baking?
We are outside. We practice nice and early. So, it's 95 degrees at 7 a.m., but we're out there.
Nice. I don't know if you've ever come across Doug Jolly. He's 21 years older than you. But he played for the Raiders when Al Davis was alive, and he has stories. I don't know what the new Raider image is, but he lived the old Raider image. He's got stories. He will entertain you. You need to catch up with him at some point.
Will do.
Okay.
I'll try to do that.
There's Tanner Wall. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines next.
The Sherwin-Williams Summer Sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off our newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.